40 years ago, PRS was an upstart electric guitar company making boutique guitars out in Maryland. In recent times, Powers Electric has done that in kind of a different way. But today we want to take a look at the grand opaque of boutique guitars that has grown into a full-fledged factory to the more recent kid on the block and see how they compare. Check it out. Hey, you're watching Alamo Music TV. My name is Chris McKee with Alamo Music in San Antonio, Texas. You can find us online at alamomusic.com. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, turn on notifications, and like our videos. If you'd like to support the channel, you can visit our spring store link below for custom swag and check out our podcast, the Fretboard Confessional, wherever you get your podcasts at. I'd also like to say, because I got asked today, if you are purchasing from a local store and you still like to support us, make sure that you subscribe, but also share the videos. That's certainly a way of helping out if you can't shop with us. So today, we're taking an opportunity to take a look at this beautiful Powers Electric that we just got in. It's a phenomenal hardtail, full Faraday 42 pickup guitar with this really nice select maple top. And it got Cooper and I thinking about how these new Powers Electrics that are really still kind of making their way into the minds of guitar players out there, how does this boutique company, which is really kind of what it is, even though it's supported by a factory, how does it compare to maybe the grandpappy boutique company, which is PRS. Now, PRS wouldn't be considered boutique today. It has grown up into a full-fledged company, one of the bigger ones out there, and would be considered mainstream by most people, myself included. But it's 40 years this year that they have been making guitars. And to compare these, I have a really cool one. I'm going to set the Powers down. We'll come back to it in a second. But this came in recently on trade to us, and it's a very nice 25th anniversary custom 24. Now this thing is in dead mint condition. It's a phenomenal guitar, and I'm showing it to you only because I'm not allowed to take it home right now. But it's a beautiful example of what PRS makes. And the custom 24 is really the archetype of PRS guitars. It started with a guitar that looks very much like what the Carlos Santana model looks like in their lineup, but eventually it found its final form factor in the custom 24. Now this 25th anniversary model has some really killer features on it. One in particular I wanted to point out because it's kind of derided. A lot of people misunderstand it. I do understand the issues people have with it, but that is the 5-way rotary switch. Now, if you're not familiar with a 5-way rotary switch, I think it really is a good representation of what PRS's philosophy was. Now, PRS, to a lot of people, looks like a very modern guitar, but the truth of it is that its DNA is really nestled in the past. And what Paul Reed Smith's notion was to take really kind of a blending of the best things that was going on with Fender guitars and with Gibson guitars, which by 1985 was not doing very well as companies, but take the things that they made really well in the past and kind of meld those together in a guitar for musicians where you can have a whole host of sounds, a mix of the aesthetics and the scale lengths and all of that stuff. And what came out of it was an entirely new guitar that learns from those disciplines and creates something new. So that's what the PRS Custom 24 is. 24 frets at a 25-inch scale length with a really nice tremolo like a Strat would have, 3 screws but at a knife edge, volume, tone, and then instead of a 3-way toggle or 5-way switch like you see on the modern ones, this one has a 5-way rotary switch. And it's confusing to a lot of people, and a lot of people who buy these guitars will take that out and they will put a 3-way toggle and a push-pull here, which is similar to McCarty models today. And that gives you, some nice sounds. It gives you 3-way toggle switch for your pickup selector between the neck, bridge, or both. But it also allows you to split the coils and get the single coil sound if you like. So what's going on instead with this guitar, again, trying to get your best of both worlds, is in position 5, it's the neck pickup. Position 4 is both inner coils in parallel, okay, for a nice Strat sound. Position 3 is the outer coils in series, think of a Telecaster sound, it's in series, so it's really a wide humbucker in that sound, but with the single coils, not the whole humbucker. Position 2 is the 2 in parallel, which is more like your tele sound, a bridge, and a neck in parallel. And then finally, position 5 is your bridge pickup, humbucker all of the way. And so, you know, the knock on it is when you're playing, you have to look down, but that's also not very helpful because despite the fact that it's a 5-way, it's a normal tone pot with 10 position markers on it. But I don't find it to be really that much different than a 5-way blade switch where you still kind of have to feel where you're at. And I like the sounds that you get out of it because that wiring is difficult. Alas, enough people did not agree with me. They did not like it, and they don't do this anymore. But that's how it works, and I think it's cool. But that speaks to what these are. You know, they were a guitar designed for the musician to give you a lot of sounds, to give you great looks, to really, you know, like the violin carve on the top being a deeper carve than what's going on with the Les Paul, for instance, is trying to speak to something where it's beyond a guitar. We're looking into the past to violins, along with what Ted McCarty did at Gibson, along with what Leo Fender and Fullerton did. So that's really what's going on with PRS, and this is a really fantastic example of it, if I may say so myself. Now, let's compare that with this other flame top beauty from Powers. And yes, this is being supported by the Taylor Guitars factory, but this is, as we've said before, Andy Powers' love child. It is his work, his passion, and it is really unique. Similar to what Paul Reed Smith was doing 40 years ago, Andy Powers is kind of trying to rethink everything by thinking outside the box and coming up with really boutique things. And as we've referenced before, everything short of the tuners on this guitar are bespoke. The bridge is a unique bespoke design. The stop tail in this particular case, or the cam tail in other models, is completely unique, and the pickups are unique. Now, these are the full Faradays. You can tell because the aluminum cover with the machine turned tops is complete here. Neodymium magnets, aluminum construction design, completely silent, large single coil designs that give you a ton of mid-range in this setup. If you want more full range and that high end, they open up a bit of the coil, usually cover it to match whatever the aesthetics of the guitar is. So like if you have kind of a tiger stripe pickguard, it would have tiger stripe inserts there to cover the top of the coil for the partial Faradays. The resin, knobs, and switchery, and just the entire aesthetic and look of this is in very similar ways looking back to create something new. Now, there's a lot influencing here. These pickups are very much influenced by really old Bigsby designed pickups from the 1940s. The aesthetic of this is rooted in as much of surf culture from SoCal as it is in hot rod culture, and that's why you see the machine turned aluminum all over the place. The shape is reminiscent of hot rod and surf culture. And so there's something from the past still informing the present on both of these guitars. And in this case, yes, we've shown you some solid color ones that are really cool, like the Chroma Borealis. Recently, we got in a Chroma Watermelon. Check that on our website. A color-shifting watermelon color guitar is so cool. But if you are a fan of natural wood, you're going to love this. And I would happen to say, I think as guitar players, well, really just people, we tend to shop with our eyes first. So if you can look at something in this pale ale finish with that kind of figuring in the top, it's liable to get your attention. And so we're showing it to you. So anyways, Cooper's going to run these through their paces so you can get an idea. These are going to be very unique sounding guitars, but very cool in their own right. Check it out. All right, so there you have it. Very cool guitars, lots of flexibility between both of them. I love the response that you get on the Powers Electric. There's something about that trussed hollow body sound that you get, and the pickups are very, very cool, whether clean or pushed. I'm a big fan. I'm going to have one of these in my arsenal at some point. I already have one of these, not a 25th anniversary edition. Actually, I don't have a custom 24, and I want to get one at some point. But I have a PRS, and I really enjoy that a lot as it is. But what do you think? I think both of these guitars really kind of represent to me what a guitar builder should do. And I'm going to make a statement that may sound controversial, and I don't mean it to be, I don't mean this as a knock against anybody. There was a time when to make your own version of a vintage Stratocaster or a modern Stratocaster, and to do it well was really an accomplishment. And there are some great companies out there, smaller electric guitar companies that make phenomenal instruments that really more closely follow those Fender designs. Nowadays, with the rise of CNC, there are companies that will ghost build for boutique builders. It's in a lot of ways become a lot easier to create a neck blank and to create a body, and to, if it's a very modular guitar like a Fender, put that together and put your name on it and call it your designs. And again, there's no knock on that, because a lot of those will bring their own unique flair to them and their unique taste and switching and pickups and all of that, and really call it their own. They're very, very cool. But I do find it refreshing when a guitar builder really just goes off and creates their own thing, which I think both of these companies have done very well. PRS has made their place in the electric guitar world. They've been here now for a long time. They're not going anywhere anytime soon, and we're glad to carry their product in our store. And I feel that Powers being new on the map is also really laying its claim to creating something unique that nobody else is really doing, to offer you something more than just a Me Too product, much like Paul Reed Smith did in the 1980s. By the way, these are so futuristic in a way, with the way that the tops are carved in the 1980s, that if you haven't noticed it, most guitar players have. Back to the Future Part 2, when it's set off in the future, they decided to pick up a PRS to put in Marty's hands right before he gets fired. So a little bit of movie trivia for you. If you haven't noticed until now, I think it's a Custom 22 or Custom 24 that he's holding as he sits in his Barcalounger and plays terribly. So anyways, there you go. Fantastic guitars. Let me know your thoughts, and if there's other builders that you think are also doing a good job of really coming up with their own designs, kind of putting their mark on the electric guitar world as it is. If you are interested in either of these guitars or any others, make sure you visit our website. It's alamomusic.com. If you haven't done so and you want to support this channel, whether you buy from us or not, like I said at the onset, subscribe to this channel. It really helps us. Turn on your notifications, make comments, engage with us, because that all matters in the Internet of Things, and share this video so that others can see it and benefit from it as well. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.